Hello, my name is Xander. I'm making this video to give advice to people who are trying to buy like a second mouthpiece for Barry. I know high school me, I played on a 5C pretty much all throughout high school, and then my last two and a half years, I really like looked into like getting better gear, and there wasn't a lot of resources out there, especially for Barry. So I'm making this video for people who are trying to figure out what a good like second starter mouthpiece or like an intermediate mouthpiece would be. The two mouthpieces that I'm going to be playing today are both from Vandoren. One of them is a V16. This is in a B9 tip opening, and the other one is their Optimum mouthpiece. This is in a BL5. They both have the MO ligature in each gold, different sizes, but same ligature. And I'm going to be play testing them, and hopefully this gives you a good idea, and I'll give you my thoughts about what each of these, what kind of sound each of these produce, and why I think they're great. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'll put links to them, so if if you're like, oh, I want to go see how much it costs and all that stuff, you can just go look at it. But yeah, hopefully somebody finds better advice than I got. The setup for my V16 is a B9 V16 with a clear Vandoren mouthpiece guard. They're aged MO ligature, which you can see is moldy and gross and all that fun stuff. And then the reed I use for jazz, which I like these reeds, is it's upside down. Hold on. It's a Diodario. I don't know if you can see that. It's their unfiled Select Jazz. This is a 4 soft. And I tried the Java Red box for a while, and I just found personally that I couldn't get the right strength out of the box. So the reeds were either way too hard or way too soft for me. So I switched to Diodario, and I've had great results ever since. So that's the setup. I'm going to run through a couple things so you can hear what this mouthpiece sounds like on my Barry. I have a Yamaha YBS 52 Barry, which was overhauled by Steve Gray out in California. I'll have a link to his website. Great guy, very nice, very easy. Sent me the saxophone in a nice packed up case, and no leaks. So, all right. So this is the V16. I'm going to do a C major scale, kind of slow, different dynamics so you can hear what it sounds like, and then a C pentatonic scale, and then a chromatic scale, specifically at the low end, so middle A to low A, and then I'll play a little bit of Misty, just a jazz standard. I'll play a little bit of the melody so you can get an idea of what it sounds like. We'll start with the low C major scale, or the C major scale, it's not low. All right, so for the classical setup, like I said before, it's a BL5 or Optimum. This is the biggest tip opening they make for Barry and Optimum. I believe it goes 3, 4, and 5. I got 5. And then the reed I'm running or using is a Vandoren 3.5 blue box. So you're not going to be able to see that, but it's a standard box. I used to go really soft with my classical reeds, and then my director, one of the pieces we had, there's like a saxophone section. He wanted it to play really loud, so I kept squeaking. So I ended up getting a thicker reed. But a lot, just for me personally, I like a little bit of a tougher reed, and like to break them in a little harder. Some people like other things. The ligature is the same. It's Vandoren Optimum. It's the aged gold color, whatever. Do note though that this is not the same size as the V16. This is actually way bigger. So the V16 one is almost the same size as like a normal tenor ligature, and then the Optimum one is huge because the Optimum is a really big mouthpiece. So when you're buying them, double check to make sure you have the right one. So All right, so this is the Optimum. I'm just gonna do the same thing I did for the V16, except I'm gonna play diatonic scale exercise instead of Misty. So to wrap this up, I just wanted to talk about kind of why I purchased these specific tip openings and these mouthpieces. When I bought these, all in all, with the ligature and the mouthpiece and the protective little, the rubber mouth teeth guard thing, whatever, it was like $300 a piece. So this one and this one. And that's not a huge sum of money, but for like a middle school or high school kid, that's probably, a good amount of work. I knew for me it was. I worked for like 2 years to save up for this one because I bought this one in high school. But like for this one, I just was putting money away as I was working. So it's not like a huge investment. That way, if you want to turn around and resell them or, return it, or you end up not liking it a year later or whatever. But the reason I ended up going with the B9 and the BL5, like I said, I bought this one first. And I moved from a Yamaha 5C to this, and for me that was a huge change because the Yamaha 5C is really teeny tiny in the tip opening, and this one's obviously it's the biggest thing that they produce. And the reason I got this was only because I had somebody tell me like, dude, don't get the B5, like don't get the B7, get the B9. It's the biggest, it's the fattest, it's got the best sound. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, so I'll buy this one. And there's not really a price difference between I think some of them go on sale, but whatever. There's not really a significant price difference in the tip opening. It was just like somebody told me to buy it, so I bought it. And like I struggled really hard the first 3 months I had this because I wasn't used to how much air was required. And granted, it does give me a nice big round fat, jazz sound, but it took me forever to get used to this coming off of a Yamaha 5C, which is like a, typically considered like a beginner mouthpiece. So just some advice: if you're gonna buy like an intermediate or a step-up mouthpiece, keep that in mind. The more you change from what you have, if you haven't played a lot of mouthpieces, the longer it's gonna take for you to get adequated to that mouthpiece. This took me about 3 months just to be able to play it normally, and it took me another 3 months after that to where I started thinking to myself, wow, I sound pretty decent on this. I'm not all over the place in my tuning and my tone and all that stuff. So keep that in mind. And then for this one was a lot easier. I had tried out more mouthpieces from then till now. This one I got almost 2 years ago. So for this, this was similar to the Yamaha 5C I had been used to playing. So to switch to this was not that much of a difference. I just had to change my embouchure because it's more of a classical piece. So yeah, I really like this mouth. I really like both mouthpieces because, like I said, they're not super expensive. At the same time, though, there are other options. A couple of my friends bought those cheap. Well, they're not cheap, but they bought the Sios mouthpieces cheaply, like second used, or they went on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and just bought a cheap plastic hard rubber, like I think they're called the graphite, like the gray ones. I don't know what they're called, but just because they wanted to try and get their hands on a Jazzberry mouthpiece. So if you can, I would suggest going to a store and actually trying them out. I don't have access to that. There's not a music store in my area that really provides that opportunity. So I was, really taking a gamble with this, and I made it work, but it took me a while to get used to it. So my advice would be either go to a music store and try a mouthpiece, or if you can't, talk to somebody who has that mouthpiece to get a better idea. If you want to buy either of these, I'll link them in the description. I have a link to probably Sweetwater. I think that's just be the easiest. And if you really I really want to talk to somebody who plays these, put a comment and I'll I'll send you my email or something, and then we can do we can have like a little meeting or whatever, and I'll talk more about these. But like I said, I think these are the best option for somebody, classical or jazz, that's trying to get into that intermediate level of mouthpieces, but doesn't want to spend $500, $600 on a mouthpiece and then not like it or not be able to return it. So just my thoughts. You don't have to agree with me. If you think I sound terrible and you don't want to buy these, then I really hope you find a better mouthpiece that fits you better. It's all personal preference. So yeah, hope this was helpful in some way and not just a waste of your time. That would suck. But I figured I'd make this video, just like I said, so that way somebody who doesn't have an idea might have a little bit of a better one now moving forward. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed your day. Hope this has been helpful, like I said before. And I'll have all this stuff about my saxophone and about the mouthpieces linked in the description. So